May all that I say and all the chizuk that we gain bring nachad ruach to Hashem Yitbarach, serve as a zchut for Klal Yisrael, and invoke rachamei shamayim for everyone in need of Yeshuot. Amen. So welcome everyone. Thank you. It's so nice to see everyone here and lots of new faces. It's great to see everyone. So I'll start by talking, just mentioning quickly about an upcoming trip that we're planning. Be'ezrat Hashem, a very spiritual experience. We were speaking, Alice and I, about the whole idea. We were calling it Uma, Uman, Emuna. The trip to Uman, Be'ezrat Hashem, that we're planning March 20th to March 25th. Very much looking forward to a very, very uplifting spiritual experience. 5 days to nourish the soul, to really, really be in touch with the tzaddikim. Rabbi Nachman is, with no doubt, the tzaddik of this generation. So many are attracted to him. In fact, it was so funny. I was hearing the other day a shiur, and the Rav was saying, you know, you go into a Stimatsky, which is sort of the Barnes and Noble of America. You go into the store and you say, you ask the guy behind the counter, hey, do you have a book on the Baal Shem Tov HaKadosh? And he says, I don't know, I might have one somewhere over there. And then, do you happen to have a book on, I don't know, another tzaddik? They're all gdolim, don't get me wrong. Maybe, I'll look in the computer, it doesn't sound familiar. But then you ask, do you have a book on Rabbi Nachman? Yeah, you see that shelf over, the whole entire shelf, and the one behind it in the back, and you have all those books. And then you could also go to this section, that's Stamatsky. It's like a general bookstore, and it's basically not for the Torah crowd. His neshama has come forth to really be there for our generation. So it's very exciting. I made the trip myself. You really don't come back the same. It's very empowering. It's just something, also being there on Shabbat, finishing a Sefer Tehillim after Shabbat. There's so many zgulot and so much Yeshuot. I myself experienced tremendous Yeshuot, and Nisim and Tzipi, who was there as well, you know, can vouch for it when she went on her own. Come and join me. It really, really is a beautiful, beautiful way to really get all your koach intact for Pesach cleaning, because it's right after Purim, and I don't look at it as a vacation. I look at it really as a recharger for the soul. It's something that we all need to put our minds in perspective. 5 days. It has nothing to do with your body. The accommodations aren't 5-star hotel accommodations. It's all about really getting in touch with who you are and really finding yourself. It's a 5-day journey to find who you are and discover who you are, and let yourself reveal yourself to yourself. It's an amazing experience. Also, I wanted to mention that, God willing, in 2 weeks' time on Purim Katan, which is the 14th of Adar Aleph, the 14th of February, we're also heading into great things, a 40-day gratitude global revolution. Yael, who's not here, and I have put together this campaign to really widespread and bring about an awareness in order for us to achieve that pinnacle of happiness in Adar, that spiritual energy that Adar offers to us. In order for us to really, really, really be happy, every breath that we take, we have to appreciate. Every moment of life. And I'll just, start by telling you this. Some people come to me, a lot of women come to me, and I've heard other women just also bypassing say this. Hashem put me in this world. He's supposed to take care of me. What do you mean? I don't have to beg for food. I don't have to come to him in tefillah and beg for something. He put me in this world. He has to take care of me, like a father is obligated to take care of his child. Sounds like a valid, valid taina, right, on the surface. But what we don't know is that we are here in this world as a guest and as a favor. Hashem really extended a tremendous favor and kindness for allowing us back into this world. And why do I say that? Because this is not the first visit. This is not the first time we've been here. If this was the first time we've been here, maybe there's some validation to what, those women say. But we're not here the first time around. We've been here many times before. And unfortunately, the last time we left this place, we left this world just a tad bit dirtier than what it was when we came in. And so Hashem said, you know what? I'm going to allow you back into this world. I'm going to allow you to clean the mess that you left last time you left this world. and you come back here, and I'm going to offer my hospitable services to you. I'm going to take care of you. But I'm really here to give you a second chance. Hashem gave us already that one chance. He gave us 2 chances. He gave us 3 chances. All of us are here. I don't even want to know how many times we've been here before. We don't remember that. But the bottom line is Hashem gave us a chance to really earn our eternal reward. And if we don't remember that what we're really here to do is work for our eternity, then we can come to Hashem and maybe give complaints and so on and so forth. But the bottom line is Hashem gave us life, and He gave us whatever we need in that life to be able to succeed the best at our fulfilling our mission. And if that means whatever hardships we have to go through, because last time around, maybe we didn't appreciate them, maybe we abused them, maybe, they didn't do good for us. Whatever, in Hashem's infinite wisdom, He decided to give us the circumstances of our lives that we're living with right now, it's because that's what we need, 3rd, 4th, 10th, second time around that we're here in this world in order to fulfill our mission. So why am I saying that? I'm saying that because in order to achieve gratitude, first let's start with that. Let's start with the mindset of understanding and internalizing that being alive right now, where we are, is a gift. That we shouldn't just be on autopilot and go through life and just, live for the next day. Live from one moment to the next. Live for that time when the kids will grow up, they'll be married, whatever, the house will come, whatever dreams we set for ourselves. Bottom line is, we're here to achieve our, eternal palace, Bezrat Hashem. And that's something that we have to be eternally grateful for to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that's really what this campaign is about. It's to take 5 minutes a day and to focus on life, to really focus on looking. And one woman wrote me and she says, can you give me some advice for fostering gratitude? And I love this a bit of I know this is not it has nothing to do with the topic of tonight, but I think it's very important to talk about. This tidbit that I got out of a shiur once. So there was once I don't know if I said this before, excuse me if I have, but there was once a teacher who got up in front of the class, and he had one of those blackboards that were white. And he took the whole blackboard is white, and he took one of his black markers and he put a dot in the middle of the blackboard, and he turned to the class and he says, what do you see? So everyone who raised their hands, black dot, black dot, black dot. One person raises their hand, says, I see a white blackboard with a black dot. And that's the key. The key is, what am I zooming into? Am I zooming into the black dot, or am I seeing the black dot on the background of all of my white life? And that's what fostering a gratitude attitude is all about. It's about zooming in to all the things that I have. So yes, I have a child who's giving me a hard time, but I have others that aren't. And yes, my toe is killing me, but my fingers are fine. And yes, I don't have money, but I have right now a roof over my head. And I have the gracious help of others around me that are helping me, who are all shlichim. See, one of the things we forget, and I know I'm going off subject here for just a moment, but one of the major complaints that I get in trying to help women achieve this place of emotional wellness is that they'll say to me, I don't want to take from others. I don't want to be in a position where I'm taking from others. I want to be the giver, which is valid. It's 100%. But you have to understand that whoever is giving you, Hashem is giving it to you. I know He's not giving it to you in the way that you want to get it. And I understand that. But it's good to get it that way. For some reason or another, this derech, this path that Hashem chose, that you should receive the help that you need to get through your month, is good for you. Whatever it does. We don't understand what it does, but whatever it does, here we go again with the Emuna. So, long spiel, but the idea is to to open up that mindset, to be cognizant of the fact that for 40 days, to really give birth to a new attitude, to focus on, focusing on the good that I have, and 5 minutes to either say Nishmat Kochai or do an exercise journal. We'll have all kinds of tidbits that we'll be sending out to the women who sign up, and I encourage everyone to do so. Tonight's shiur, Bezrat Hashem, I'm dedicating to Ilui Nishmat, my father's grandmother, Alea Shalom, Safta Chana, Bat Esther. May her neshama bask in the radiance, Shechina, amongst all the tzaddikim who have passed away from this world. Amen. Okay, so today we're continuing our series of Shalom within and without. We're talking about mastering our minds and mastering our emotions. We're going to get a little bit Kabbalistic. We're going to talk about Chokhmah, Binah, and Dat, wisdom, understanding, and knowledge, and how to integrate those three upper spheres into our lives and really try to maintain as much control over that, over our minds, so that our minds really reign over our emotions. Because we want to be Bnei Malachim in this world. We want to be the children of of our King in this world. Melech is spelled Mem, Lamed, Chaf. Mem stands for Moach, Lamed stands for Lev, and Chaf stands for Kaved. Melech means that first I use my Mem, my Moach, my mind. Then I use my Lamed, my Lev, my heart, my emotions. And then I use my Kaved, my body, my liver, my bodily actions. That's how I become a Melech. On the other hand, if I go first with my emotions, I become what's called a Lemech. A Lemech in Hebrew is someone sort of like flimsy and flopsy and sort of doesn't know his way around. So we don't want to be Lemech, we want to be Melech. And tonight, Bezrat Hashem, will acquire the practical tools that we need in order to be able to live that type of life. So, the body mirrors the soul. So if my head is here and my brain is located in my skull, and it's at the top of my body, so just as my brain sits at the top of my body, so too does the brain of my soul also sit at the top of my soul. In other words, just like the body has a brain, which tells the body, per se, is in charge of telling the body, thoughts and how to go about in life, so too does the soul. The soul has a brain, and the brain is located in the same place, physically, as the brain, as the physical brain. What does this mean? It means that right here, this is called the Keter. The Keter is the crown. The crown is the place where our brain, physical brain, is located, and also it's also the place where our spiritual soul, spiritual brain, is also located, right here in our minds. This is our godly spark. This is where we connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. This is where my Ratzon is. This is where I can move mountains. This is the most powerful center point in the universe, where with it, if I get in touch with my Ratzon, if I get in touch with my godly spark, with my desire to do something, if I can be in touch with that, I can do anything. And so we're going to try to go over the process of how I can gain strong control over and let my mind, let my Chokhmah, Binah, and Dat take charge of my life and not my heart. Because this is where we falter. This is where the Yetzer Hara gets us. The Yetzer Hara gets us when he gets us to act impulsively and go on a momentary binge of emotions, and we're following it like a cat to go after the milk. That's our problem. So the idea is to live mindfully and to really be in charge of what we're doing and to live consciously. That's the goal of tonight's shiur. Now, we can't grasp HaKadosh Baruch Hu's essence. We're not supposed to even go there. But we do, and we are told and recommended even by our sages, to go after and seek to know Hashem's greatness. How awesome he is. And with us going after and learning of Hashem's awesomeness, number one, we get to see where our place is, and we see how small we are and how humble we need to respond and react in life. And also, we get to have a relationship and connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and respect Him and honor Him in his where He stays and in His place, in the supreme authority. One place where nobody has control over is in our minds. We have full control over our minds. We have full control over our will. We can choose to live with any mindset that we want to. That was one aspect that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave to mankind, to be able to choose anytime that they want. We can mindfully choose to change our way of thinking and our desires. We spoke about this in one of the past shurim, which this is sort of a little bit of a follow-up on it in terms of our thoughts and how we can channel our thoughts. I do suggest, rewatching the post or the video, or whoever didn't see it should, probably watch it at a later time. But in any case, the idea is to you see all the smoke coming up? I don't know. Oh, okay, because I see it. I just didn't know if it's coming away. Okay. The smoke is not from a fire, God forbid, it's from water. So the idea is for us to be able to really recognize the thoughts that come into mind and to be able to embrace them, to be able to acknowledge them, to be able to work with them to help better us to achieve our soul rectification. So let's go through Chokhmah, go through Bina, and then finally get to Dat. Because basically, Chokhmah, Bina, and Dat are the three upper Sfirot. They're in charge of the whole intellectual progression and how we think. And the other 7 Sfirot are in charge of our emotions. So first, even in the Sfiras, there's supremacy over the intellect, then from the emotions. First, everything should go through the mind. Nothing that we do in this world should be on the spur of an emotional moment. In fact, as the Chafetz Chaim suggested in one of his, a lot of times his students would come to him and, Rebbe, should I do this? Should I do that? What should I do? I read a story once that one of his students came over to him and said, Rebbe, should we, we want to buy a building. We saw this building. We really want to buy it. We want to open up another yeshiva, and with the so on and so forth. And then the Rebbe says, it's not good. It's not the right time. 6 months later, the student comes back, Rebbe, the building is still available. We want to buy it. We really think it's a great idea for the Rebbe, the yeshiva, and so on and so forth. What do you think? It's still not the right time. A year later, the student again comes back, Rebbe, we've been really thinking about this. We think that this would really be a good opportunity. We envisioned that the Best Midrash would be here, and that this would be there, and then that. The Rebbe says, go ahead. So the student says, Rebbe, I've been coming to you for a year from now. I really hope. He says, when you came to me a year ago, you were talking from your emotions. You were excited and you were thinking, and you weren't thinking things through. 6 months after, okay, it was a little bit more planted. Now you're coming to me, you're actually giving it some thought. Now is when I think is the right time. So the idea is, and this is really what all the Chachamim and the therapists even tell us, don't decide anything when you're in an emotional turmoil. Don't decide anything. Don't make any decisions. If you're elated, if you're happy, you're excited, let's do this, let's do that. No. Or when you're down in the dumps, I don't think, no, we shouldn't do that. That's never going to work. No. Don't make any decisions. Be solemn, straight with where your heart should be steady, steadfast, in a good, well-grounded place, then make decisions about everything. Spiritual, materialistic pursuits, whatever. Just be in an emotionally inner equilibrium kind of place so that you can really think things through. So let's talk about Chokhmah. Chokhmah is wisdom. Chokhmah is that flash of an idea that comes to you like that, out of nowhere. You're sitting in the shiur and something pops in your mind. I never thought about that. That's Chokhmah. That's something from nothing. That's an idea that comes to you from nowhere. It comes to you, though, only, you can only recognize that bit of chokhmah only if you're in a place of bitul, of ayin, of nothingness. I can't grasp that flashing insight if I'm full of myself. Where's it going to go? Where's it going to go? I have to make space for it, for these thoughts to come in, out, in, out, in. There's got to be space in the drive, right? In the computer drive. So if I'm in a place, if I am working on my midot, and I'm making sure that I'm trying to maintain, to know where my place is versus the awesomeness of Hashem, where am I, that everything is you, Hashem, everything comes from you. Like before I go to a shiur, I always say, Hashem, this is not about me. The shiur has nothing to do with me. This is all about you. It's all about Kvodash Torah. It has nothing to do with me. This is not me. Nothing that I'm saying here and now is me. Nothing. I take out all the garbage of the ego and the Torah, any time, all that nonsense. Nonsense. All nonsense. It's all about you, Hashem. You have to make room for Hashem to enter your mind. If you don't make room for Hashem to enter your mind, nothing will be able to stick. So the idea is to be in a place of bitul, of self-nullification. Hashem, I have no will. I have no wisdom. I have nothing. I am nothing without you. Enod milvado, right? We said this before. If I have thoughts of what I consider to be of my own, then there's yeshod milvado. Chas v'shalom. That means there's me. There's my ideas. But if I recognize that everything is Hashem, everything I think of, my failures, my successes, my thoughts, my good ideas, what I advised my husband, what I told my kids, the fact that I was able to control my emotions, it was me, it was me, it was me, it was me. If it's all about me, yeshod milvado. And that's not where we want to be. We want to be in a place of enod milvado. So the idea is the chokhmah can only come to us if we're in a place of bitul, if I vacate that space for Hashem and I can make room for Him. Now, chokhmah is considered male in its essence because it is, although receiving from Hashem, but now we're going to see where it's giving. It's giving itself, that idea is now being planted, which is what males do. They plant, right? They're givers. It's being planted into a female aspect of, so to speak, Hashem's manifestation and His spiritual energy, and that's called Bina. Bina is a wise understanding. It's a whole different product, but that's female. So the Chokhmah is male, giving it down to the female, which is called Bina. Hold on, before I skipped myself. So Chokhmah, what do we do with Chokhmah? What do we do with that flashing insight, that piece of wisdom that I get? I want to know, and if you pay attention, you're going to see a lot of commonalities between Chokhmah and men. Okay? Chokhmah is, I want to know what is it? What is this? What is this, honey? What is this that you bought? What did you buy? Let me turn. He turns it around. He looks at it. He gets the new phone. He wants to know exactly all the features he wants to see. He wants to delve into. He wants to know the essence of it. That's men. That is the essence of a man. A man wants to know the essence of it. He's not going to go into the details of wanting to really probe through. That's the bina. That's where the women come in. But men enjoy knowing, what is this all about? Pure facts. Tell me, what is it all about? Okay, bottom line. How much is it going to cost me? You want to buy the dress? How much is it going to cost me? You know, they want to know tachlis, the essence. What is it about? That's what chokhmah is. That's what the mind does, the brain does, when it gets that flashing, and it has the room for it, yes, it has that flashing insight, that flashing moment of inspiration or wisdom. What does it do? It wants to know, what is this all about? Okay, it accepts it in. Now, next, it plants it again into Bina. So Bina is about analysis. It's about, if it comes to me in parts, Bina is taking those parts, and Bina comes from the word ben, between. It's looking in between those parts, and it's coming to an analysis It's deriving and deducing logically, what are the pieces? How do the pieces come together? What is it all about? It's really fine-tuning it. It's delving more in it. And Bina also comes from the word boneh. And then we build on that. That's what women do. Women see fragmentations. We take this. We're referees. We take this. We take that. We take this one arguing and that arguing. We piece it together. We unify it together. We say, "Oh, what would you really mean when you told your brother that?" Okay, we go like a man is not capable of doing that. He can't do that. He doesn't have the patience to do that. Okay, that's where us women come in. That's where the Bina comes in.
So it's a long process, but throughout it, like, would it be clear to someone that it's all connected, and you keep the chokhmah, which is the starting point in your mind, and you're realizing that all of this work throughout is the Bina?
You're asking that if you have to go through this entire...
The chokhmah seems like instant, and the Bina is
the chokhmah is the potential. Right. It's the thought and potential.
Right.
That's what it is. It's a thought and it's a flashing something. Soon we're going to get into understanding how we spoke about, changing negative thoughts to positive thoughts and how we could do that. And you're going to see it now really clearly. We're going to really bring it all together in this shiur, how we're able to do that. But the bottom line is that it's first these are the three shlavim, the three steps of how the intellect works. It's first about the flashing moment of wisdom. An idea pops into my mind. It's potential. I didn't do anything with it yet. I had the space for it to stay there. Okay, so now it's there. Now let's. So Bina is about going more in depth. But again, we're not consciously aware of the fact that this is what's going on. I just am trying to bring it down to parts so we understand exactly what's going on. So it teaches us how much control we really do have. That's the idea. It's for us not to think that we have no control over what goes into our minds and how we, what do we do with them. The idea is for us to know that we do control. We have 100% access and control to everything that goes through our mind.
Are the men less in touch with the Bina side of it, with the details? And then are we less in touch then with these flashes of inspiration?
You know what it is? You need both. It's like you need a man and a woman to and we're going to see how a child comes in here. You need both. Each one plays their integral part. So just because the man is more talented, quote unquote, or gifted with chokhmah, it doesn't mean that the woman doesn't have any chokhmah. She has it, but she just may not be as into it or as gifted to notice it as much as with Bina.
Like a dugma of like how a woman might look at a thing, how a woman might look at chokhmah and Bina.
Right. So for instance, the woman, as I said, like even just, and again, I'm just taking this idea because this is what my husband does. When we get the new phone, because now we just got a new phone, because the Pelephone decided to give us a new kosher phone, so we got it. So my husband could sit there for hours going and understanding exactly how the phone works and oh, if you press this button, this is how this I don't care. I don't care how the phone, it works, that's fine. So men like to know what things are about. That's women don't want, like, it's like a Gemara. A lot of times you'll find that women, it's not that they're not supposed to or yes supposed to learn Gemara. It's not for them because it's not into it. They don't how this one said that one. The women want to know, like, what do you want me to do with it? What do how do I apply it into my life? And the men like understanding the essence of it exactly. Why do you have that screw over there? What function does it? I don't really care why you have if someone knows about it, let them know about it, So it's a different way of looking at things. And yet a woman, if you give her something that requires detail, minute detail, and focus to put things together and to see a totality of a picture, a woman can do that. She could piece things together and she could see the totality of the purpose. A man can't. It's very hard for him to see the totality of a purpose of why something's happening. A woman could delve under the surface. She's more under the surface. A man is more surface-like. You understand? No?
Report cards.
Go ahead.
A husband gets a report card, a wife gets a mother and a father get a report card from a kid. Think about the example of what happens with the mother and what happens with the father. the father wants to know immediately, okay, how many tests did you have, how many reports, how many did you do? I want to get the total, I want to average them out, I want to see that your teacher did it exactly right.
All surface.
The mother's like, well, I remember you had the chicken pox for 2 weeks and you were out, and that's probably a good reason. Like, it's a whole different way of
Right. So she's delving, she's going under the surface, trying to find out the reason, trying to better understand, and he's just looking at tachlis. What is it? How much? What's the grade? You know what I mean? And so it's a totally different mindset. And Bina, we see also here is that Bina also goes into the heart of things. And Bina is the process in the mind where now it's starting to go into, it's the bridge from the intellect going into the emotion. We're now starting to go just a little, because now that I'm delving into it, now that I'm understanding it a little bit more, now I can relate to it just a tad bit. And if I can relate to it, it's touching my heart. So Bina is the bridge where that wisdom, that notion, that thought, that inspiration is now starting to touch me in my essence. I'm starting to really feel for it. I'm starting to connect to it. Okay? So that's what happens there. Da'at is the child. Da'at is the perfect union between Chokhmah and Bina. It's where the potential of thought gets analyzed and torn apart to better understand, and then it gives birth to Da'at. Da'at is the motivating drive for me to act upon that which I know. And this is what's in exile. All that I just said, this is the cream. This is what I'm trying to get to. Our Da'at is in exile. Our ability to be motivated based on that which we know is in exile. Isn't this every single one of our problem? I know I shouldn't have a piece of cake at 10 o'clock at night, but I really want it. I know I shouldn't be yelling at my kids, but I'm really angry. I know I shouldn't be smoking, but I'm really addicted to it, and I'm having a really hard time. I know Hashem is in charge of my life, but why am I so sad? This is what's in exile. This is the Da'at. Our child is in exile. The ability for us to act upon that which we know is 100% true. Emotionally, spiritually, intellect, everything. I'm not pushed enough. My Ratzon is in exile. I can't get my Ratzon to push me so that I'll be able to act upon that which I know. So the encouraging part about this all is, don't worry, this is all part of the plan. There's nothing wrong with any of us. We're all going through this. We're all in exile together. Sit back, enjoy the journey, because that's where we're all there. And this is part of, this is where we are. And if anybody who's not going through this, well, they really have done tremendous work with themselves. They've been able to take themselves out of exile, but this is the essence of exile. When the Baal Shem Tov HaKadosh says that we're not just in physical exile, but our minds are in exile, this is what he was referring to. It's referring to the fact that I am not able to transform the way that I behave based on that which I know 100% to be true. I cannot move with it. I can't get myself to act on it. I can't get my heart to really feel that which I know. So let's just understand something. The Ratzon is sitting. Actually, if you want, when the baby is just born, they have the soft spot, right? That's exactly the point of where the Ratzon sits. That's what, according to the Kabbalah, that's what they say. That's exactly the pinpoint of where a person's Ratzon lies. That Ratzon is the place. It's the center of free will, because based on my will, I get to choose how it is that I'm going to respond to different things. Now, the idea for me to do in life, is to constantly work to reinforce my Ratzon. How do I do that? One of the best tools is for me to constantly use my soul's eye, use vision. We are all so motivated. We say a picture is 1,000 words. We're always so motivated by that which we see. You know, we can know about something, but you see, like we were saying before, you see the video of the mother and the father, you know, with all the tragedy that went on here in Israel, you know, with the poisoning. You just saw them for a 2-minute YouTube clip, and you were like beside yourself. And all the emails, of course, they stirred. Just now having that vision, seeing the pictures of the 2 girls, Aleim Shalom, and the 2 boys with the machine, it just touches you in a way that words can't do. So that if we want to increase our ratzon, we have to visualize ourselves in that place that we want to be. If it means that a single girl should envision herself under the chuppah, then that's what she should do. In order to increase her emuna, in order to increase the vision, that to anticipate and be hopeful and be positive and not to fall into despair, then that's what she has to do. She has to see herself under that chuppah. And if it's anybody who's suffering from Shalom Beit issues, we have to envision our husbands coming home with flowers and a smile on their face, and we have to envision us not getting upset at them when they say something that's not in place, and embracing them in our mind's eye, just to see us being that woman, that mother, that wife that we want to be. It's a matter of really envisioning it. And we can't do that without Yeshuv Hadat. What is Yeshuv Hadat? Now look how this all ties. It's amazing what Chokhmah of Torah we have here. All the tools for emotional healing. It's right here. All in our intellectual sphere. What is Yeshuv Hadat? It's to settle one's mind. It's to sit down. Yeshuv from Lashevet. It's to sit down and internalize what I know to be true, and to work with that and encourage myself and motivate myself, create ratzon for myself by envisioning that which I want to do, envisioning that place of where I want to be. That's what Yeshuv Hadat is. It's settling myself so that I could settle my dot. So my dot is not somewhere up there. It's not just anywhere. So now what did we learn? Just going back to something that we learned about, you know, negative thoughts versus positive thoughts, and how do we keep that going. So here, remember what we said, I don't know if anyone remembered, we said when there's a negative thought, we're supposed to digress and divert that thought, and right away just let it just be replaced by something else. Not let it sit in our mind for one moment. Because now we see what happens when that thought, when that chokhmah, when that moment of a flash of a thought comes through our mind, what happens? If we let it settle there, what happens to it? Where does it go?
Into Bina.
Into Bina. It goes right into Bina. And where does it go from Bina? Into my heart. So if I allow a negative thought to sit there in my mind, that flashing out of nowhere, right? Yesh me'ayin, right? For that thought that randomly, seemingly, so to speak, popped in my mind, if I let it sit there, and then I start probing it, and analyzing it, and getting into it, and why am I thinking that? And I shouldn't be thinking that. And don't you know you should be appreciative of your life? And why are you being so upset with yourself? And why, you know, no. I'm creating feelings. I'm attaching myself to that thought. And right away it's being planted into my heart. So what do I do here? So here it just intimately connects to that. It's like the next step of what we just learned with our thoughts, is that I should, when something comes into my mind that I don't want to think about, if it's a moment of disparity, Hashem, I don't see a way out of this. Don't think about it. Replace it with another thought. Go and start thinking about the list of things you have to do: the wash and the lawn, and the ironing and the cooking and the shopping and Purim coming up and Pesach. How do I be? Think about anything else on your list. Don't entertain the thought, because you don't want it to get to that point where it's going in. It's going to be a child. You're going to give birth to that feeling that's going to be in your heart, and then it's going to be really, really hard to take out, because emotions are very, very powerful. Anybody have any thoughts?
Couldn't negative emotions or bring you to a better place as well? Like you don't like feeling that way, so you need to work through it, and then something good comes out of it as well. So,
of negative thoughts?
Yeah.
What? Give me an example. Like what would you see?
You have a question. Something that happened to you that was disturbing to you, and you work through it, and then you come to a place where you accept it. Why didn't she return my phone call? I can't believe she didn't return my phone call. I took out my time, whatever, and then.
Well, that's a question. Why didn't she return my phone call? Is not negative.
Yeah, sure it is. If you're harboring like.
No. You have to work through those questions. You do have to work. You know what negative is? Yeah. You're giving yourself the answer. She didn't return my phone call because she's just not nice. That's negative. Asking why she didn't return the phone call is acknowledging the feeling that you feel that you've been cheated, not validated.
So like focusing on that negative.
Right. It's the fact that I didn't even ask the question. It's right away. Isn't that a chutzpah? She didn't give me a call. She's not nice, and I'm not going to do anything anymore for her. That's negative. That's negative.
Also, when you're angry about something, it shows you, it's a guideline for you what you're passionate about, what really gets to you. So if you look at something, you can see two parents, and one parent will react completely different to the same incident.
All right.
It gives you an idea what really matters to you.
Absolutely.
It's a negative emotion. Anger is a terrible thing to have, but on the other hand, you learn tremendously from it.
Right. But not when you act on it. Not anger. If anger stays just as an emotion inside, and you work through it internally, then that's obviously positive. Anger, there's nothing wrong with being angry. It's a matter of you being able to respond to it constructively. That's what it's all about. But it's interesting that you brought up that point, because many times I pay attention, actually, in my home, I look at what I get upset about in my house. And they say, if you really want to know what you're teaching your children as far as what's important in your life, look at the things that you get angry at them. What you're getting angry that they broke the cup, but you're not angry, let's just say, as much than if they didn't say a bracha on their food. They pay attention to these things. It's very funny, because once I actually did that test on myself, you have to see, like, what do you get angry over? And that's the messages you're giving to your children. If I yell louder because, they didn't clean up their mess, as opposed to them not making the minyan, I'm just saying, yes, then what I'm teaching them what I'm more passionate about and what's more important to me. So just tying that into it, that's very, very interesting.
Then you're in a catch-22, because on the other hand, you don't want to give negative associations to anything with Yiddishkeit necessarily. I mean, it's important not to be angry.
Absolutely.
To say how important it is to say a bracha in a nice way without.
Unfortunately, though, Allah.
But the inner work of knowing meaning not the expressed anger, which isn't positive at all, but the feeling of anger.
I was just going to say, we're all human.
What gets you?
Yeah, we're all human, of course.
Or when they don't, not yelling is always.
If Yiddishkeit is important to me, of course I'm going to get angry inside of me. It's going to disturb me. I did not say angry. It's going to disturb me that my child is not saying a bracha, or that he doesn't care about davening, or that you finished davening in 10 minutes. Like, what kind of davening was that? Of course it's going to bother me, because, again, here we're talking, what am I passionate about? If I'm passionate about davening, it's going to bother me that my kids aren't as passionate as I am. I mean, so but again, I didn't say to get angry, but I have to see what am I displaying on the right? What am I displaying on the outside also? What messages am I giving out there as far as what's important to me? And my kids judge me based on my reaction. So how am I reacting to two different things? You broke the glass. I'm really, really angry. Don't you know how much money in it? And I'm talking about the money. And I'm really angry, and I'm going on and venting about it for half an hour still. And I still said it to my neighbor and my friends and my husband when he just walked through the door. But yet I didn't say a word to him about the fact that Moshe, didn't make it to Minyan. So again, just as a sidetrack, these are, we just happen to say it's obviously Hashem wanted us to mention it. So Rabbi Nachman writes again. So in this beautiful, important place in our body called the brain, the spiritual head of the soul, what's here is our godly spark. What's here? The soul's knowledge of why she was brought down here. Right here lies in the Ratzon. What lies here is Hashem's Ratzon. What lies here is the soul's Ratzon. And the only Ratzon the soul has is one thing. And that's to leave this world and go back to the source of all goodness. The soul is imprisoned. The soul is not happy. The soul, that's one of the reasons, by the way, why you should know, why it's written in the Zohar Kadosh, that the one thing we all have in common is that none of us believe that we're ever going to die. Unconsciously, none of us believe that we're going to ever die. We all think we're going to be here forever. And where does that come from? That comes from the soul's connection to infinite, to the infinity, to the fact that it's going to live forever. So that's where it comes from. I mean, the body interprets it as, worry. I was just saying today, to someone, I was saying, if you really want to see an indicator of how irresponsible of a nation, of a generation, we've become, you're going to see it by looking at how few life insurance policies are being sold today, how the IRA pensions have gone down, people's desire to put money into the IRA funds have gone down. The whole mindset of future planning has gone down, and it's not just because people don't have money. The idea is our whole mindset in today's world is all about now. It's all about now. Like, I don't care what's going to happen tomorrow. And it comes from a place of disparity because we're so boggled down with how life is. And we hear of this one, God forbid, passing away at a young age. And this thing happening and that thing happening. That we have no desire to want to even plan or see what's in the future. And this affects us greatly also on a soul level. We don't think on eternal levels at all. We're not in an eternal mindset. If we would just bring that a little bit back into our lives, we'd be able to live life here very differently with a lot more Emuna. The problem is we only want to see this world right now. Yeah, I know it's only 80 years, but still, let the 80 years be really good because, it's what I'm experiencing right now. So we're all looking into the now. And it's really affecting us on all ends. That's why this whole idea of instant gratification is so horrendous to us. Because it's all about putting our mindsets into now, the present, right now. Where am I living? Where am I holding right now? But the idea is to be able to see further on and to understand that this is all an investment into the future. So the soul sees that. The soul was once connected to eternity, and all it wants to do and all it yearns to do is to go back to that place. It does not want to be here. And so that's the Ratzon. The Ratzon for the soul is what's going to quicken up the process for me to be able to go back to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's all the soul wants. The soul doesn't want to entertain a single moment more into this world. Again, I'm not saying that any one of us should just wish our lives away. But the bottom line is once we finish our tikkun, that's the gift we give to the soul. That's really why we're here. We're here in order to achieve that full rectification. So anytime I work on impulsiveness, on passionate feeling, that sense of unrestrained impulse, it means that I'm acting on an emotion that hasn't gone through the Chokhmah, Bina, and Dat. In other words, I'm thinking as a lemech. I'm thinking with my heart. And that is only going to bring me into problems. That is only going to be a place where I'm going to be in this emotional turmoil. And then when you try, if you look at it even on a physical level, going from here, how does gravity? Gravity always pushes things down. So going from here to here, it's almost the natural way for your mind to work. It starts here and then it goes down over there. But taking it now, it started here I didn't go through any of the Chokhmah, Bina, and Dat. I just right away went with an impulse, right away went with an emotion. Now go against gravity and start pushing it up. How hard is that? How hard is it to, once it's down in your heart, how hard is it to start now churning through it and analyzing it and understanding it and trying to change it? You're going against gravity. You're going against nature. It's very, very hard. So Judaism is a religion of mindfulness. It's about self-discipline. The whole Torah, it's all about not being an animal. It's not being impulsive. It's not acting on, I feel I'm going to do. It's not about that. It's mindfulness. I'm drinking. It's not drink. It's being mindful. Who gave this to me? I need to thank someone. Baruch, it's mindfulness. It's self-discipline. It's using your mind first. And that's what we're trying to learn here, is to live with thinking, with being responsible for that which I do. By letting it go through the processes of Chokhmah, Bina, and Dat, I'm living in a mindful way. I'm letting it go through my intelligence before I act upon it. And how do I know if the thought is coming from my body or from my soul? How do I know if what I'm being told by my mind right now is something that's good for me eternally, for my soul? You have to ask only one question of yourself. How would Hashem react if I was to act upon this idea, this moment, this wisdom, this moment, this flashing insight that I just got? How would Hashem be happy with me acting upon it? And if you can honestly, after delving into it, say yes, then it's an eitzah from your spiritual place, from your spiritual brain, and you should act on it. And if it's not, then it's no. Then you know it's just a trick. And sometimes you have to delve into it a little bit, right? Because we're still paying the price of Adam HaRishon, who made a big mix of it, of what's right and what's wrong. It's Yeshuv Dat. And that's inner calm. That's serenity. When I know that I've given it thought, I've really delved into it, I've put my Bina into it, I've torn it apart and I've analyzed, I looked at it from this angle and that angle, and is it really the right thing for me to do? And when I'm able to really look at that, then I have Yeshuv Dat. I have no confusion. I know exactly what I'm doing. I'm working with my sechel. I'm working with my mind. I'm not just at the heat of the moment. And that's Yeshuv Dat. That's where we all want to get to. That's happiness. That's being mindful. That's going through life clearly knowing where I'm heading. Any other thoughts before I move on to my last part? No?
That's around another time. You always have that question.
You can increase it though, if you're more mindful of your reactions and your emotions, which is what I've been talking about in the last few Daily Dose articles. It's all about being mindful. I have an emotion now. I'm being mindful. I'm not just tucking it. I want to know, what am I feeling right now? How am I feeling right now? Going through the process of acknowledging it and knowing that whatever I'm feeling, my soul is talking to me. It's Hashem. It's my godly spark. It's my ratzon. It's my free will. It's whatever you want to call it. It's everything and everything and nothing. It's right. Who's talking to me right now? I'm feeling something. Not to just dismiss it. What am I feeling now? Why am I feeling it? And to turn myself, if I can, in a corner, and to turn to Hashem. And if I don't have that clarity of mind, Hashem, help me. And that's how the soul speaks to us. I'm going through something that's causing me an imbalance, emotionally, physically, whatever it is. Now's my time to go to Hashem. If I don't understand where it's coming from after I've tried to delve into it or in the midst of it, I go to Hashem. And then I've already resolved that emotion because I've already now brought the source into it. And I'm asking for clarity. It's not only therapeutic, but you're sure to gain some clarity of mind from turning to HaKadosh Baruch Hu at that point. Okay, so I know I've been speaking for a while, so I went off just a little bit. So where should I go from here? Okay, so let me just talk a little bit about the heart, because the mind and the heart are very, very intimately, bonded together. And I want to just talk just a little bit about how from the mind it goes into the heart. Whatever Bina goes through, we said that's the bridge between the mind and the heart. So whatever Bina now takes that thought, that inspiration, that moment, and now is analyzing it, it's now working its way into my heart. And Rabbi Nachman writes that whatever is in our mind that comes from Bina gets planted into the heart. And the heart hears, and the heart understands. And with the hearing and the understanding, it feels and it responds. So from that, again, going through that, but that's okay. At that point, when I've dealt through it and I've allowed it, that space into my heart, it means it's good for me to feel that, which is fine, and I allow myself to start feeling. But some of us, unfortunately, suffer from what's called a heart of stone. Okay, my heart is so clogged up, and again, here it goes, where I have to now make room inside my heart, vacate that space inside my heart to allow that chokhmah and bina to come into it, that will help me carve the way into dat, so I'll be able to feel and have a connection with that which I went through in my mind, and be able to be motivated, have a personal connection with what I'm about to do. And again, I know I'm going very tediously into the steps. Consciously, we don't know that this is going on, but I just want us to understand the process, is that at that point, when it's going into my heart, it's going to cause me to act. But if my heart is made of stone and I have no room for that to go into, so now I have to work at purifying that heart and melting that heart. And one of the ways of being able to do that is to, again, empty the heart by reaching out to Hashem. Tefillah is the key to be able to empty out our hearts, letting go of those unwanted feelings, letting go of all that guilt, or letting go of all those times where we're carrying, again, old baggage of all kinds of things we keep carrying along with us. The idea is to let them out, Be'ezrat Hashem, and to be able to allow that chokhmah that we've gone through to be able to enter into our heart. So for instance, if a person has a heart of stone, it's to now make room for that heart. And one of the ways of making room in that heart is, for instance, to do something charitable, to do something, act in a way of kindness, so that we can melt our hearts and bring ourselves to be able to feel more. I have to act. I have to act in a charitable way. I have to act with kindness, even if it's forcefully, even if it's coercing myself to be able to act in that way. But that will help, of course, melt my heart and be able to help me make room for all the mindful thinking and be able to act on that. Some people suffer from what's called a confused heart, which is a heart where they're constantly doubtful. One moment they're in a burst of inspiration and feel inspired coming out of the shiur. That's it. I feel it. I could feel it with every fiber of my being. I'm going to act with Emuna. I see Hashem. I don't see anything else, and I'm all inspired, and I feel it. I just feel it all over. I'm definitely there. But then the next moment, it's like something happens and right away the confusion settles in. So actually the eitzah that the Torah gives us, interestingly enough, is connecting ourselves to a machloket, an argument of conflicting views in the Torah. It's done b'kedusha. It's done in holiness. If I, let's say, know of a book that gives me opposing views of this is what Rashi says, this is what the Malbim says, this is what Rebbe this says, this is what Rebbe that says, and seeing how they bring peace to the conflicting views of such a holy study of Torah, they say that that's the antidote, that's the remedy for a confused heart. For any confusion that we suffer from, it's to delve into a place of holiness where there's as if conflicting mindsets, but to see how they go about and resolve it and bring it together, like seeing how Bet Shammai and Bet Hillel resolve their conflicts. That should, Be'ezrat Hashem, be an aid for us to be able to resolve, the conflicting mindset and of what's going on in our hearts as well. So that's really the basic idea. Again, the idea is for us to be mindful of the fact that we hold the powerful source called Ratzon and free will in us, and that each one of us can choose to use it however which way we want. Like I said, when a thought comes into our mind, we choose what to do with it. We have that choice. And depending on how in touch we make ourselves with the fact that, with our soul, with the fact that we have a willpower to want to make a change in our lives, depending on how much we get in touch with that part of us, we can, Be'ezrat Hashem, be able to really make a change in our lives. And so the idea is to walk away and feel empowered, that we really can make a difference. We really can choose to live differently. It's all being in touch here and being able to sit down with ourselves and get in touch with what that soul's mission is trying, what the soul is trying to say, and to heed the messages and understand the language, Be'ezrat Hashem, by sitting down with ourselves and bringing that dot out of exile and, being in touch with ourselves and being able to better understand with clarity. So Be'ezrat Hashem, I pray that we will be able to start using our Chokhmah, Bina, and Dot, be closer to our soul's mission, Be'ezrat Hashem, and that will really carve the path for Adar to be able to live really with a more state of mindfulness, with happiness, with Emuna, Be'ezrat Hashem, Be'korov. Amen.
Thank you.
So if anybody has any questions, I'll be happy to answer. Yeah.
I was just going to ask you, what would you say to somebody, I mean, probably all of us know somebody who's not religious, but they believe in Hashem, and they believe that Torah is from Hashem. And it doesn't go further. So now, I mean, they're not looking to internalize it and bring it down to their level. So how do you help somebody like that? What
are you trying to do for them? You're trying to help them get through a conflict?
If you believe what you're saying, you believe that Hashem, you believe in Hashem, and Hashem gave us the Torah. And that's it. But they don't think that they don't have any connection to having to do anything.
The only thing I would say to someone like that is, why don't you explore and learn more about how intimately involved Hashem is in our lives, and how the situation that you are in right now is all being guided and directed by Hashem. I would encourage the person to learn more, because when they start to get involved in Torah learning, their mind, they'll go from being narrow-minded to being open-minded. That's what Torah does. Torah exposes us to the higher realms. In the higher realms, there is no end to what Hashem can do. There's no end to what Hashem can do and how much He's involved and how wise, quote unquote, He is. So when we delve into Torah, we're actually expanding our minds. We're not looking at things like this. We're looking at things like that. There's no end. The possibilities are endless. And so you want to expose them to being able to see that, and the only way they're able to see that is by learning Torah. So I would encourage a person like that to either learn more, go to Torah classes, if they're reading, CD, there's so much wealth. Yeah. Go ahead.
I wanted to ask you about this. Sometimes I feel that the process is okay when you're not physically tired, but what do you say to people who are, when Hashem gives you this challenge of being tired, like you have kids waking up non-stop, and it feels like it's impossible to have this calm process of stopping the thoughts and feelings and...
Right, okay.
Is it practical?
Okay, so no, it's not. It's like the time to increase your Emuna is not when you're in a nisayon. So the time to work on your inner calm is not when you're not calm. The time is to work on your inner calm is to strengthen your calm when you are calm. What does that mean? It means to recharge your battery and to, again, increase the awareness of, number one, how detrimental it is for you to lash out, for you to act in that irrational kind of way, for you to say those words that you usually say, or respond in that way that you usually respond. It's for you to gain the strength when you have the strength, so that you can tap into that reservoir when the nisayon comes. And that's a nisayon. It's you being in a nisayon when you're tired. And it's Hashem saying, now let me see how you're going to respond. Well, the key to be calm when you're not tired and everything's been great, there's no nisayon there. You're calm, cool, and collected, and you have better grips on yourself. The nisayon is, how do you respond when it's 7:30 and you've just had it with the whining? How do you respond? I'm telling you from my own experience. How do I respond to my child when all day long they were homesick and nudging me? How do I put them to bed at night? I have so much to learn. How do I respond to that? That's the nisayon. But the time for me to learn that is during the days when my kids aren't at home. Hashem, please help me so that I shouldn't fall, and I should have my patience with me, and I should see only you, because enod milvado. My kid whining, there's no reality but Hashem. It's not my kid that's pushing my tired button. It's Hashem wanting me to grow from this nisayon, pushing me so that I can work on my midot when it's challenging and hard. And from here, I'm an athlete. I'm strengthening my Emuna muscles. I'm strengthening my midot. I'm working on myself. I'm going beyond the limits of nature, because Am Yisrael is above nature. So we're not succumbed to act naturally. We're gifted to be able to tap into above nature and be able to take our strength from a place that's unheard of. That's us. We have that. It's in our DNA. We just have to tap into that and recognize that that's the potential of being a Jew. The potential of being a Jew is I can go anywhere if I just choose to. I just have to be in that mindful place where I practice it again before the nisayon. That's what it's all about. Yeah. That's it. All questions, answers. You guys are good. Better than me.
She turns it off. I wanted to say something.
Yeah.